Thank you very much for joining us. Well, we begin from the Hague, and submissions for the no case to answer in the ICC case facing Deputy President William Ruto and Joshua Arap started this morning in the Hague. Now the two are in attendance. The court is currently in session. Let's just take a look at what's happening there right now.
And huge rocks, some of which were transported by tractors throughout the district. He also burnt vehicles and tires while refusing to allow anyone to pass, as well as engaging in killing, rioting and looting so far. That, Your Honours, is obviously consistent with much of the evidence that Your Honours has heard from the crime-based witnesses in this case. Briefly speaking, as to the widespread nature of the attack, of the violence, it was throughout Kenya and throughout the Rift Valley, and indeed the CPEV report concludes that the Rift Valley was, as it terms, the epicenter of the violence, where 64% of the deaths occurred and 62% of the injuries occurred. Your Honours, the numbers are there on the tables. One can see on the screen, in Uasin Gishu alone, 230 people were killed. And if one can focus at the table at the bottom of that screen, please. It shows that a bit further down, 744 out of 1,133 people killed in Kenya were killed in the Rift Valley. And this is also echoed in the findings of the experts Morper, who puts the figures at 754 out of 1,125, which is remarkably similar to the CPEV reports. As to people injured, there was a similar pattern on page 509 to 511. Start with 509, please. If you can perhaps scroll down a bit further, 511. And the small table at the bottom. One more. That table there, thank you. Rift Valley, 2,193 out of 3,561 were injured. Countrywide. I'm not going to go through all of this, Your Honours, but just to read out the figures. People displaced, 21,749 people internally displaced in Uasin Gishu alone. The reference there is page 493 of our book of extracts. And then as to the fact that this attack was on the civilian population, the CPEF concluded that all of the deaths, other than those caused by gunshot wounds, were the result of civilian-on-civilian violence. So they were civilian victims. And if one looks at Uasin Gishu, I can give you the figures that out of the 230 people killed, only 28 were gunshot injuries. The rest were killed by blunt injury, sharp injury, arrows, burning, etc., which CPEV concluded were civilian-on-civilian. So these are our civilians that are being killed by other civilians, not by security forces. Your Honours, as to the widespread nature of the attack, one has the expert evidence of witness 488, his name I can give in public, Mr. Lars Bromley, who identified in the Greater Eldoret area alone 506 buildings as definitely destroyed from his satellite imagery, as well as 190 possibly burnt